right, let's get into the paper review now, bringing you headlines across the papers in the country this morning. And we have joining us Dr. John. He's a leadership and communication strategist. He joins us usually on a day like this. Dr. Good morning.
Good morning.
Nice
good morning.
to see you.
Yeah, good morning, guys.
Yeah.
All right, let's begin with a punch. And this one says, petrol subsidy now 24 billion naira monthly. Daily demand 50 million litres. NNPC. Importation subsidy regime unclear, says the NLC. This is what it costs us to get petrol every month.
Yeah, so unclear there. But you continue to ask yourself the basic questions as to, number one, how did we move from 35 million litres per day to 50 million litres per day? It shows that we need to, agencies of government need to work hand in hand, because you discover that in border communities, you have petrol stations in numbers, and in other communities, you don't get to have them. So the tactics is that once these people get fuel, they easily take it to the other neighboring countries.
Yeah, that's what the NNPC is saying, the proliferation of filling stations, especially across the borders.
It's actually more expensive at the other side of the land. So we need to first sit together, address this issue of petroleum product, the scarcity, and our ability as a country. I said it here the other time that until we cross this line of having the capacity to refine within the shores of the country, we may not be able to solve the problem of
Is NNPC driving
subsidy.
at a point there? Are they trying to say, look, it's time for us to review how we license petrol station owners? Is that what it's talking about? Because it's saying, look, it has to do with the proliferation of filling stations.
If you look at what actually led to this information, it's actually a charge to another agency of government to wake up, not necessarily because they want to do something as urgently as possible. They want customs to actually wake up to the responsibility of keeping the borders. But beyond what customs can do, I think the NNPC should continue to think about how we can increase our refining capacity within the country.
I think that really that is where it starts from, because if you are able to refine this thing back home where it is common, it is available, it is accessible, the pressure to take it away would not be there.
Even if we have the pressure, at least you will be able to determine to a reasonable extent the price within
the country.
So you will not be talking about subsidy. You know, we have talked about subsidy to the point that it's getting so annoying now.
Doctor, it looks like somebody is not thinking. If we're smuggling petrol or petroleum products across the borders, it means there's a high demand, a huge demand for it. Imagine if our refineries were working. How much would Nigeria would be making for, you know,
No, but in that, where you say it seems someone is not thinking. No, someone is actually thinking.
What are they thinking about?
But the point there is where they're thinking and what they're thinking about
totally
is
different
what it makes the difference.
I got your point.
Because somebody is thinking somewhere.
All right, moving on, still staying with the punch. Oshibajo defends Buhari, says nepotism allegations unfounded. According to Oshibajo, look, most of the, you know, really interesting ministries, let me use that word, ministries are actually being occupied by people from the southern part of the country.
I think beyond reality, the issue of perception should be taken very seriously. Because when you talk about the number of ministers, for example, an average person is saying, what is my concern? It is the constitution requirement. It is required that at least each state of the federation produces a minister. So at the end of the day, we're going to have at least 36 ministers. So whether it's a juicy ministry or another ministry is left for the politicians.
Why should we even have things like juicy and non-juicy ministries? Isn't that something
what is the concept of
that?
Juicy and not juicy? The point there is they are there to work. If you are the Minister of Finance,
get the job done.
It doesn't mean that, okay, the vault is going to be in your bedroom and then you can fetch monies anyhow. You're there to work. The amount you're paid as a Minister of Finance is what
science and technology gets.
So if there are no sides, this thing, you understand. But the reality about the perception problem of the government is not whether we have more ministers from the south or from the major problem is that the people are complaining that people that are close to the president are running the government they are running the government into corruption. So who are these people that are close to the president? They are president's people. So that's where the problem is. The problem is not with the ministers.
And they have the so-called juiciest ministries.
So
End of story.
the problem we have, because I need us to correct that, it's not in the ministries.
Okay.
The problem we have is we are talking about the office of perhaps the chief of staff to the president. We are talking about the secretary to the government of the federation. We are talking about the inner kitchen cabinet of government. And these are the places where we have problem, not even in the ministries.
All right, let's quickly move on. Otedola endorses Ambode for second term. Does he deserve it? Some people are already saying anyone who wants to run against Ambode is just going to be wasting their money and wasting their time.
Well, really, if you look at what he has done, I think when it comes to administration, he has been fantastic.
I think
fantastic.
Lagos is working.
Lagos is working.
Lagos
but again,
but there's still room for improvement.
That's not needs to be. We need to be careful about how we put burden on the people in the name of blessing them. You don't necessarily say because you need money to develop Lagos that you continue to put burden on them in form of taxation. They have to pay this and that. They are talking about what's this money they charge for buildings now. They are thinking about land use charge. Yes, land use charge. They are thinking about bringing it up. We have the toll gate issue and all this. So the government, in the name of blessing the people, should not place more burden.
But Dr. Really, seriously, what's wrong with people paying that? Look, it's a taxpayer's money that is making Lagos work. And if we can get more people pay their taxes, isn't it because really for a very long time, we just got used to not paying our taxes. And so when the government comes and says and insists that you must pay your tax, it looks like it's a burden.
Is, if you see it for the face value of it, the taxes paid in, say, a city like London is more than what we pay here.
It is.
But let's get into the nitty-gritty of it, because the issue there is some basic things have to be on ground. The convenience, the comfort, the availability, the access, the mobility, all of those things put together first, because Nigerians will want to see those things before they are encouraged to pay taxes. All
right, chicken and egg situation. Which one should come first?
Exactly. Chicken laid the egg will give birth to the chicken. The Nation newspaper now, let's move there. Military tackles rep over Dapchi girls' whereabouts. Youths act on lawmakers' tip. All right, this is another issue. We remember Honorable Goni Bukar, politician from Yunusari in Yobe State a few days ago, who said that, well, he knows what is going on. He has an idea of what the whereabouts of the girls. He's been getting updates from the soldiers in the field and all of that. And Nigerians have been asking, even if you know, are we supposed to get that from you, or and all of that?
Now, I get to discover that before so many people, we may term them irresponsible with what they say. But before people become lousy with their talk, I've come to realize in Nigeria that it's because most times people in power do not listen. You have you have written. We have cases where a governor even wrote to the presidency, and the vice president denied that this man never wrote until he made the letter public. So we have seen cases like that, and I've come to discover that so many times when these people run to the press is because they've made effort to get this information across to people in power, and they are not doing anything. That's why they come out to say, oh, okay, let's Kukumas spill everything, let everybody know what's going on. But again,
we have also seen instances where somehow, even before the letter gets there, leak it somehow. So that people at least props up your popularity.
But again, I don't think on this issue of security, especially when it comes to these young girls, I don't think we should become too political about it, and we should not be unnecessarily too lousy. There's the need for the military to continue to work with the locals. These people, either we like it or not, have information.
And it's run, like asking me what's happening with whatever in my information they get.
People come to me, they are ready because they have confidence in you somehow. They want to tell you the information. They do not have that confidence in the military. Because at the end of the day, they're going to ask you the question, how did you get to know?
Of course.
Dr. John, there's a Mama Boko Haram who is also saying she knows where the girls are. She's sure that they're not out of Yobe yet.
And so this woman,
expect the military to do something about that.
If you had read about her, you discover that she has information when it comes to operations of Boko Haram. She's been
involved with negotiations over time.
So we should not just trash everything they say because of politics. We should take it seriously.
But the question there is, if we have people like this, there are other journalists who have been involved with a negotiation, who act as middlemen. is the government really taking advantage of these people well as it's supposed to be? Because if they have contact with the Boko Haram and they've been getting information and they know the state of things and all of that, I wonder why it is difficult for government to...
Well, she's been given assurances that nothing will happen to the girls, and we really pray that it is so.
From what he heard.
It's actually a little bit complicated. On
really
this, you cannot blame the government, because sometimes you ask yourself, what do terrorists really want? Because they keep changing their game plans, they keep changing their demands and all that. So it makes it a little bit very complicated for the government to tackle at once. That's why, again, I say it's not a fight of deadline. We need to be consistent with what we're doing.
Let's move ahead now. Disquiet over budget, Cold War delays passage. The federal government, the government is saying the National Assembly is the one delaying the passage of the budget 2018. The National Assembly is saying, well, ministers are not coming to defend when we say come and defend your budget, you're not coming to defend, so the government is the one delaying it, so the passage of the budget. Okay. It's a back and forth thing.
Yes, responsibility. Responsibility is what we need to hammer on, especially when it comes to this government. For example, when a senator is saying we are going to mandate the federal government to fix a road, you're asking yourself, who is this almighty federal government? Do you understand? It's because people are not taking responsibility. If this government fails, if I am a local government chairman, I should be able to take responsibility that I failed as a person. If we get to this point, then I think the bickering between the executive and the legislators will reduce.
Okay. Well, it looks like the more things change, the more they remain the same as far as budget is concerned. That means it is first quarter rounding up already.
Yes. And that, because
this is the last month,
you know, that's the ultimate power of the legislature. The ultimate power. Everything they need, they have to hold on to the budget until they get it.
Yeah. Let's move on now. National Assembly sued over 2019 polls. That's the sequence, the election sequence and all of that. Then GMD, GMD is saying NNPC is losing 774 million naira daily on subsidy. And Ajimobi's third term is mere parable, says Olubadan. The point there is, he said he has been misunderstood with the statement he made when he was saying that the governor deserved even third term. He was using that as figurative to say, okay, fine, you've done so well. And then he said he was quoted out of context to say there should be a third term for the governor. And then Lagos will become Africa's third largest economy, says Otedola. A businessman endorses Ambode. Well, those are some of the headlines on the Nation Now. Let's move on. All
right, and our final paper this morning is the Daily Sun. Fuel subsidy gulps 774 million naira daily. Of course, we already heard that. FG neglecting rivers. Governor Nyesom Wike crying out there.
How?
Okay, very good question.
The question is how, because what is it that the River State government is supposed to get from the federal government that it has not got? So that's the very first question. You get your allocation, your 13% derivation fund is there. And in all honesty, people from Rivers say the man is developing the place.
Exactly.
I don't know, I've not...
So there are no national emergencies.
Why, you understand, why are you saying we should not play politics unnecessarily?
So maybe what he's saying, if he had more from the federal government, he would do better than he is doing right now.
If we manage the little we have at all levels, either at the state level, either in Rivers, Lagos, Ogun, Oyo, any state, if we manage it well, we're going to have more results. The problem we have in this country is not more money.
Well, according to him, the APC is not attracting the right kind of investment to River State. In other words, the APC is not just
one would say the point there is next to Lagos and say Kano, River State is one very strong state when it comes to the base population, the economy, and all of that. And we expect it to also try to follow the way of Lagos, collaborate with other states to see how they can boost their economy.
I think indirectly the governor is actually trying to say the APC leader in River State has not been able to elect with this bill. The legislators can say, oh, we have the power, we can actually reverse the veto. But why not think along this line? If the major challenge we have is that of unemployment, as we have agreed, my people that have invested money, as far as 30, 40,000, I do not want to watch them cry home. So let us have an arrangement, an agreement within the legislators and the executive. Let us map out the number of the people, the existing members of this Peace Corps, if really we are not greedy,
that have received training.
That have received training. Let's map how many are they? 100,000, for example. then let us see how we can put them or merge them with some existing agency, let's say the police and the Nigeria civil defense. These people are also providing security.
Yeah, but if unemployment is the challenge and the push effect of setting up the Peace Corps, does the federal government have the ability to pay these people?
The federal government,
because at this critical time, because the president has come out to say, in fact, he has put it in his letter to say, well, the financial burden is there, and I'm thinking about it. You know, the Empower program is still there, and monies are going into it, as the case may be.
But then again, should it be left to government alone if that were really the case, that there's financial implications?
Yeah, but
can the private sector too be brought in, so you have some kind of public-private, partnership?
Don't let us lie to ourselves. I understand government like the back of my hand. Any government that fails to invest heavily in security will pay ransom to Boko Haram. That's not how you want to. The government has the capacity to fund it. Don't let us lie. The money that people are stealing in government, and I mean the past and even the present, is enough to take care of our security concern. So don't tell me that the government does not have. If the president is willing today to say that we want to pass this thing into law and employ 200,000 Nigerian people, we are going to do it conveniently. Because the effect will come from the other side. That means that we are going to have less of crime. We are not going to pay ransom the way we are paying. So the government has, forget about the problem we have is that when we manage the little resources we have very efficiently, we are going to have more people in job. Unfortunately, companies are closing down, and the greatest institution of impact is the government. Because if any organization closes down today, the people are going to run to government. So these private sectors that we are talking about, Ngozi, they are facing a lot of pressure. I have said it before that go to Ilupeju, for example, industrial estate in Lagos. Go and count the number of companies that have closed down.
Well, they are being taken over by religious organizations right now. Don't want to mention.
Well, the companies, some have left for Ghana and others to South Africa. But however, the head of the Peace Corps, Dixon Akol, has said that, well, even these financial issues we're talking about, it seems that the president is not advised well, or maybe there are some persons he's been misled. This issue of Peace Corps is not supposed to totally be a burden to the government, because the point there is it's a volunteerism work, and there's also room for international donation and aid and contribution to making it work. And he went ahead to cite so many countries of the world that have Peace Corps, National Guard, and so on. And so Nigeria should not be an exception.
You see, the problem is
especially a country as big as Nigeria.
Allow me to use the language, we are copycat. Once we have something, once we have it in the UK, we want to bring it to Nigeria.
Yeah, but if it's working in those places, why not?
That it's working in the UK does not mean it's going to work in Nigeria. There are peculiarities of each nation, and especially the black people. If you go into the leadership very carefully, you discover that one of the reasons why we have leadership failure in Africa is because we import the leadership principle of other people without aligning it with the peculiarities of the nations. So that it's working elsewhere does not mean that it's going to work. See, this is how they start. Once they want to start something like this, they tell you that, oh, the body is not going to be on government. And I'm being fair to Rod this one. Once government enters into it, then you will see that there will not be any international donor anywhere. But I'm saying that the government alone has the capacity to fund it if the government really wants to fund it. But don't let us tell a story of private partnership. How many private institutions have you seen that are partnering with police? Only a few of them. And when they partner,
only in few states.
Yes, only a few states.
And they give them some few vehicles. And once they give them some few vehicles, they leave them. So they need to block you and I to get money to fuel the vehicles. Is that how we want to run another Peace Corps?
Well, the argument on the part of those who are saying no, a Peace Corps is not necessary. Why not fund the police, provide the right funding for police, for other security agencies, then there would not be any need for the Peace Corps. That's what they're saying. But then again, for a country the size of Nigeria, you have a police force of just 300,000, plus the 10,000 that we don't know if they've really been employed or not.
Well,
for a country like Nigeria, can we really, really sincerely say we should rely on just the police and maybe the military. What about the foot soldiers who, according to the Peace Corps commandant, he's saying, look, the job or the focus of the Peace Corps is totally different from what the police or the conventional, military forces, will be doing.
My simple advice is this. There was a panel set up some years back by the former President Jonathan. They call it Oronsai panel to look at the agencies of government. The fact is that we have about 600 agencies of government at the federal level. No single president in Nigeria that has ever ruled Nigeria since 1999 has a clear picture of what is happening. Let me cite an example. I was part of a crew, a Senate Committee on Education came to Adeyemi College of Education in Ondo. And after all the meeting, the Adeyemi people told the panel that there's still an agency of government in Ondo called NEPA, National Institute of Education Planning and Administration. And the Senate Committee on Education was wondering, we don't know. This is the first time we are hearing. And this agency of government gets its allocation directly from the presidency. So even the Ministry of Education may not even be aware that there's a NEPA somewhere. And NEPA was funded to take care of education challenge in the entire of West Africa. So these are the agencies of government that we keep duplicating all over the places. Now I tell you that at least our target for now should be how to employ 500,000 police. And let us take the 150 trained men of Peace Corps. Let's give them proper training. Let us admit them into the Nigeria police. I tell you, if the middleman between the presidency and the National Assembly can take this message to the National Assembly and say, okay, let's do it this way, everybody will agree.
Will it remove the issue of financial burden?
Of course, to a certain degree.
Okay, that's incorporating them into the police directly, or maybe even security defense.
To a certain degree, it's going to take charge of that, because you do not need to start building, what's it called, offices, buying furniture and all that. You just know that you are upgrading the existing police. Sometimes I'm surprised when a policeman stops me and is asking, where's your driver's license? And I went to read. They actually have the right to ask. Road safety will stop you and say, where's your driver's license? We have traffic unit of Nigeria police. Oh God, we have all these things. We want to have more.
But on the other hand, since the Peace Corps is going to be more of a volunteering force, one would say, why don't you register with the Corporate Affairs Commission and operate?
Well, presently, aren't they under the Ministry for Sports?
Naira in Nigeria to volunteer. That is different from the reality. Go and ask family members that have gone through whatever training they've done. I am telling you, it's different from reality. The hope, why we even heard that somebody committed suicide. Why will you commit suicide because of volunteerism? Nobody's going to do that. The reality is that these people have been promised that once this thing scales through, they will become employees of the federal government.
In fact, the point there is some prayer. They've organized, a few days ago, they organized a national prayer for the president
they're handing it over to God
to have a change of mind.
But of course, Dixon Ako is hoping that the president will review and have a change of heart.
But I think some senators are also disposed to it. Reports, we understand Senator Shehu Sani and so many other senators tweeted saying that the president should have a rethink about this.
So many people are in support, and it's simply because of unemployment. So when you look at it from that angle, I am totally in support, because I have family members who have already obtained form. I need a job for them. That's also going to take burden off my neck.
Is that why you're in support of it?
Of course, because of unemployment, I'm in support of it.
Well, some might say that's a rather, myopic way of solving a problem.
And that is why I said, if we think, like I said, that it's unnecessary to solve the unemployment part of it, let us incorporate it into another agency of government, and let everybody have an agreement on this, and let's move on.
But anyway, we are looking forward to days ahead where the scenario could play out, because the body language of the National Assembly, they seem to be in support of the bill. And if the president is saying, well, I am not, I withdraw my assent to the bill, they're going to override it.
So in the meantime, what happens to the thousands of Peace Corps members, of course, who have, taken to prayers to, just hoping that something will be done? What happens to them in the interim?
In the interim, they will continue to pray, nothing. Because my major fear is that, I don't know, if they really want this thing to work out, the government needs to work together as one. Even after even after the National Assembly having their two-third majority and reversing whatever the president has said, it still lies on the president to make funds available. At the end of the day, will he make funds available?
I'm still trying to make sense.
Deliberately frustrate them.
I'm still trying to make sense of the fact that this Peace Corps is actually under the Ministry of Sports and Youth
and Sports.
These are some of the things. These are some of the amendments that are going to be made, because if you are really that explains the reason why it is for employment in the first place, youth unemployment. So we want to sort it out. But if at the end of the day we actually incorporate it, at least that's going to change a lot of things. Honestly, unemployment, Mike Ngozi, is a serious concern.
It is a huge one.
It's a serious concern, and the government must do everything, but not having another police in the name of wanting to solve problem. The police we are having now is ineffective, not because Nigerian
and inefficient.
Not because the personnel are not good. You look at the commissioner of police in Lagos. Look at even the former commissioner of police. Look at the RRS commander. Look at these fine people.
You know what? Somebody said Nigeria's problem really is environmental. When you take the best of us, right, and you put them here in Nigeria, they don't perform. But when you take them out, they make Nigeria really look good.
It's a system.
So it's
I think it's a systemic issue.
Problem that is, just works against
because the Nigerian police and
success.
Nigerian contingent, when it comes to all of those technical, they have always performed.
They do well out there.
Excellently well when on international assignments.
We'll have to leave it there. Dr. John, leadership and communications expert. Thank you so much for joining us. Always making our Mondays start off in an exciting way. Thank you.